Good.
Ready?
Yep, we're live.
All right, perfect. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Thursday, February 13th meeting, Committee of the Whole for Finance at 6:03 PM. We'll start with a roll call. Carl Johnson here, Ryan Curry, Brian Schneider,
Here.
Ray Larson,
Here.
Josh Shoemaker,
Here.
Tom Wahlberg,
Here.
Elisa Patterson, Dana Logston, Matt Regano,
Here.
Rodney Riley, Marion Thornberry.
Here.
I'd ask for a motion to allow Mr. Wiltsey to join us digitally. Motion by Mr. Schneider, seconded by Mr. Regano. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Welcome, Mr. Wiltsey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We have no minutes to approve. I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Motion by Mr. Thornberry, seconded by Mr. Regano. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I have no public comment up here, and I don't see anybody in the public that would want to comment. Well, they may, but we're not going to let them. Just kidding. If you really wanted to, we'd let you. So aside from that, Mr. Wahlberg, your meeting, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Like to call in presentations, Treasurer's Monthly Treasury Report. Mr. Newport.
Good evening, everybody. If you ever wanted to add some excitement to your life, I recommend what you do is you switch accounting software, payroll software, and auditors all in the same year. So our friends from Sickage were here on Tuesday. They were supposed to be here on Wednesday, but for some reason they didn't show up. I'm just kidding. It was the weather. But we're still in the process of working through things with them. And so it's a lot more difficult than usual because of the mid-year software switch, but we will get through it and go from there. Looking at the financial summary, you may recall I warned you a month ago that January was going to be an expensive month because we pay our main insurance premium for our property and liability insurance that was over $1 million. And so this being the time of year when we're normally spending more than we take in, we're down a couple million in total from a month ago, or 1.8. And you'll notice that all came out of liquidity, because as I mentioned last month, the CDs and the other timed investments that we have are going to be rolled over, and we'll continue to lock in interest rates as best we can. And the money we spend will come out of those liquid accounts, the money that's available. So that's what's going on there. Not a lot of movement in the interest rate markets. The Fed is pretty much in a holding pattern as of late, and I don't expect any major shifts anytime soon. So that is the long and the short of it. In the investment pool we have in the first 2 months earned over $329,000 in interest. So that's a good thing. Looking at, you've got your treasurer's report, and then there is the cash and bank report. And you'll see the last account listed there, the payroll account. We're still having an issue with that. I do not believe that number to be accurate because the bank hasn't called me. The negative $577,000. With this integrated payroll system that we have, there are transactions that get automatically posted to our payroll account, and we're just trying to figure out if things have been duplicated or erroneously or what have you. And I know my deputy Karen and Aaron have been working hard to get these things squared away. Other than that, I think that's about all I had to report tonight. I will be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Newport? No? All right, thank you, Mr. Newport.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next, we'll move on to the administration monthly financial report. Ms. Thornton?
Sure. We are 2 months through our fiscal year, so these reports are updated through January. Revenues are down a little bit compared to last year. One thing that has been updated and that changed this month is the local use tax. This is our taxes that we receive for items that are purchased outside of Illinois. We're still receiving them, but the statutes have changed as to how they're being collected. So you're going to notice our local use tax actually decreasing, and you'll see that right here. We're about 2.7 under trend. Still collecting it. It's just, it's sales tax instead of use tax. So you'll notice all of our sales tax on page 2, our countywide sales tax and our county sales tax are trending high. And that's because it's still being collected. You're just going to see it attached to a different account number. So we'll be monitoring that as we go through. I also attached, especially for some of you board members, this is how complicated the state of Illinois makes the tax process, especially the use tax. This is they needed a flow chart as to how where your sales are made. So it's very complicated and tedious. And of course, we're one of the only states that does it this way, but this is how it is. So if you're interested, there's a flow chart for you. I also wanted to bring up something that we're keeping our eye on as far as expenses go, is health insurance. We were told in December, actually in January, and then again earlier this week, that our insurance rates are going to go up significantly. You'll see under executive content, I included the 12/24 monthly financial report. There's multiple reasons for this. Some of it has to do with claims. Claims were significantly high in the first half of last year for us, and for we're not the only entity. It's across the board. Some of the medical expenses are increasing. However, one of the interesting factors contributing to this increase is all of the weight loss drugs that are approved to be paid out of insurance. I included the IPBC a top 25 drug comparison. You can see the current period, July of last year through January versus the year before, and check out some of these drugs and how much money are planned. Not just us, this is across IPBC, this is across all the other government entities as well, is being spent on these weight loss drugs versus the year before. So IPBC is going to be looking at this. Aaron's reached out. We have a meeting on March 20th that he will be present at, really dive into what we can do to lessen this, because a 16% increase for us is about $500,000 in the general fund. So this is not a small increase. So hopefully they figure something out. And this isn't sustainable. I mean, if IPBC can't figure this out and provide relief to us, we're going to have to start shopping around and figure out if there's a better plan that we should be participating in. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Our health insurance year runs July 1. So we did not budget for a 16% increase. So anyway, we'll have more after that March meeting and probably report back on that in April. Other than that, ARPA. all funds have been allocated. That was a big thing, as you know, that we had to do by the end of December. So the projects, as you know, the Ringland Johnson contract for McKinley was signed before, as well as the Scandrolli contract for the courthouse. All ARPA funds that were left have been designated to those two projects. Our balance is a little over 6.1 million, and ARPA's generated over 600,000 in interest. So I will take any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Tobin? Anyone online?
Dave?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Was the money for the aerial mapping project, we talked about it being ARPA at one point and it was out. So I don't see it here. So that is budgeted though.
Correct. We decided we would take that out of the general fund. Paid the,
Okay.
yeah, we paid the initial deposit actually in last fiscal year, and then we budgeted for the second payment this year. I think we have it into at least 3 payments, if not 4.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Ms. Tobin, for your report. Okay, under new business, we'll move on to the morgue cooler RFP results. We give a report on that, Ms. Tobin?
I can do that. Bid opening was on Monday. You're seeing the results here. Aaron handled that. We have our low bid at this point is right side up. And currently Ringland Johnson, the coroner's reviewed it, and Ringland Johnson is reviewing it right now just to make sure it meets spec within what they're going to need as far as the building goes. This is significantly under budget, which is good because there's probably going to be other things that are going to be needed to go along with the cooler to make everything work. But so our plan is then for next Thursday to have that final vote for you.
Okay, do we need anything at this point, or I see you've got one bid that came in late. I threw that out, but that was a higher bid anyway.
Correct.
Yes,
I gotta ask Ms. Tobin a question.
Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
Does the low bidder have references that they also submitted with their bid just to make sure that they're a reliable company?
Correct. Yes. We'll be following up on references and to make sure that they met spec and make sure everything's apples to apples. So Ringland's actually looking at the right side up and also the area mechanical, since that came in a close second. So they have both of those bids to go through.
Okay. All right. Thank you much. Also, if I could, for the record, Patterson joined us at 6:16 p.m.
Okay.
Tom.
Oh, yes, Aaron.
I do wish to address that Aaron Mechanical had 2 proposals, as you'll see in the remarks. It says 1 ICS and 1 build. That's in correspondence, as you'll see, 44,000 and 49,000. And with the ICS, it'd be crane lifted cooler that would be placed at the McKinley campus for the 49,000 if it was just built alone. There's when they had it in their proposal of how that would look.
So using the crane, it's $5,000.
It'd be actually cheaper with the 44,000 if they just looked at
The opposite. Okay.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I did not see that. I did not.
Yep, one ICS, 1 bill is to correspond to its corrective proposal pricing.
No. Well, I'm sure they'll take all that into consideration then. We'll have more of that for next week. All right. Very good. Thank you. Next, under new business, yes, I'd ask for a motion to approve the builder's risk proposal from Gallagher for the courthouse project as presented in the amount of $61,641. Have a motion, a second? Second, moved by Mr. Burberry, seconded by Mr. McConnell. Any discussion? Okay. Mention this, Ms. Tobin?
Sure. So as you recall, last week I had you postpone voting on it. The quote at that point was a little bit over 66,000, and our owner's rep thought that was a little bit high. So we went back to Gallagher. They did a little bit more research with the insurance carrier. Plus, we also had to add in the alternates. That was not part of the other bid. So we had to add in another $640,000 worth of construction. We added that in and they were able to take 5,000 off. It's just a more expensive project based on the complexity of the project, how old the building is, the fact that it's not sprinkled. The entire thing's not sprinkled adds into that cost. So that's what made it substantially higher. So yeah, as soon as this is approved, I think next week they're going to start bringing in dumpsters and getting their construction zone all set up, and then they're going to start demo on 3/3.
Okay, March 3rd, so that's coming up. And we need to vote on this. We just want to do a voice vote. Is that to move this onto the board? Sounds good. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, next, 7.3, we're gonna have a discussion on Boone County solar lease options, and Ms. Stone, did you want to give us a brief
Sure, I can.
outline of this?
So this company, Synergy, actually approached Jesse a couple months ago in regards to whether the county would be interested in placing additional solar farms on their county property. So we reached out to Chairman Johnson and had a conversation with him about it. And, we thought it was best to bring it to the board for any further discussion. So before staff spent any more time looking into it, the state's attorney has also done some research on this as well as to whether it's even possible for us to do this. It was just recently that the state statute changed to even really allow us to lease the farmland like we have been. So she had to do a little bit more research, and Carla might be able to speak to that as well. But I thought this was a good place to start.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Just to let the board know, I asked to go ahead and bring this forward. First and foremost, I don't think it's the chairman's duty to say yes or no if somebody wants to pay the county money for something or to do something. That's what this body is for. So it's a decision for us. They were looking at pretty much any county-owned property. Obviously, we own property up off Woodstock Road and 76. I don't think that's an ideal place for that. This particular area that I'm going to say is targeted, so to speak, is right by the landfill where we have the solar panels on the landfill. I don't think next to the landfill is necessarily prime development land or anything like that. So if we were going to do it, that this may be an appropriate place to do that, but that's something for this body to discuss and consider. The other thing is they were talking a significant amount of money that they would lease the land for, assuming that's correct. I mean, do you remember?
$2,600 an acre.
So roughly $2,600 an acre is where they're starting at anyway to rent. And we've got, I don't know, I feel like we looked it up or figured it out, and it'd be about $50,000 a year the county could get if they did this. That doesn't make it yes or no, but it is a reasonable amount of money that the county could utilize for other things. So we'll just open it up for discussion and get thoughts. And when I say discussion, I do not want this to turn into a debate on whether or not solar panels are good or bad. This discussion is strictly, should we investigate this any further and get more information and talk to the company and even potentially have them come in and give us a presentation for us to consider. So that's where that's at. So,
Okay, first off, I'd like to call on Ms. Mayville. Did you have anything? Because there's some, actually, we can do a 20-year lease, but would that be able to indicate this background? on-
Tom, real quick. There was a number thrown out just a second ago. Sorry, Carla. 2,600. What was that for?
per acre is rent, at least.
Okay.
Lease the land, $2,600 per acre per year.
And we're currently leasing it now, right?
Yes.
Well, we're,
For farmland.
it's farmland, but
Yes.
Right.
like,
Yes.
I don't know, $200
Okay.
an acre or something like that.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, you're okay. Can you restate your question? You were saying
Yeah,
about,
so
there's a,
Ms. Mayville, thank you. In regards to, Ms. Tobin had mentioned, some changes with the county being able to do this. I guess that's probably the first place to start is this something we can even do?
yeah, our office's opinion is that you can do this. The county can, so we had talked a few months ago about the county possibly leasing out space they own in a building. And the county can't do that. They can't be a landlord. Basically, the test is the county can lease property it owns if it's for a public purpose. And the legislature has said that just receiving money that is then used for public purposes is not good enough. We do think that a solar project does qualify as a public purpose. It's utility adjacent. It serves the community. So our office's opinion is, yes, if the board wants to do this, they can legally do this.
Thank you, Ms. Mayville. All right, so we'll have some discussions. And just Rodney, I'm sorry to be calling you. I wanted to get Mrs. Mayville's professional opinion on this, but so to kind of frame it up, as Mr. Johnson alluded to, $2,600. I think you were just using a swag at acres. I mean, it's technically, if you did the total, it's about 28 acres. So you, depending on how many acres they actually were utilized, but yeah, it would be a substantial payout, 50, 60,000. So, Mr. Thornberry.
This property within a 3-mile radius of a municipality?
Yes, that would be an easy yes, but I guess if anyone else wants to speak to that.
According to an article I was reading today about that bills that have passed through the House, the Senate, no solar farm or no windmill farm can be built within the 3-mile radius of a municipality.
Okay, we got, maybe I'll call on Ms. Mayville. Speak to that.
I know there is legislation pending with that language in there, but the language says without the permission of the.
Growth and that kind of a thing, because I don't want to lease land and have stuff there and then us not be able to expand if we need to expand.
It's a good point, future expansion.
I will say,
Ms. Tobin.
and I had Justin send me an email and I printed it and it's sitting on my desk. There is up to the north of the landfill, there is something with right of way that he wanted to purchase he needs to purchase on the other side of the road. And he wanted to be able to have an option for a land swap of some sort. And I think I can't remember the email, it was something like about 7 acres. That he that he was going to need up there. And just to keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr.
What is the lease score on this ground?
That's a great question. I don't have the answer to that.
What was it?
Because that would be a big determining factor.
We will get that for you.
What's the LE score?
Yes, Mr. Tobin.
You know what? Let's maybe we can just cut a little bit to the chase here. Is it the board's wish to at least have staff gather that kind of information out for us, kind of put it together? We can bring this back as a discussion. This is by no means needs to be a hey, we're doing this tonight and let's go with it. So I personally think we do the taxpayers a disservice if we don't investigate it to its fullest. Let's get the Lisa score. Let's get the other information. Let's find out from Justin, what acreage we could theoretically present or have as an option, those kinds of things. If we did the whole 28 acres at $2,600 an acre, that's $72,000 a year. That's a couple of salaries in the county. That's how I look at it.
That's why I'm saying we could see what it is. And plus, that way we, if it's a low Lisa score, then at that point we can say, yes, the county's doing it and,
right.
showing that we're willing to work with the solar companies like that, but it's got to be a low enough score that,
right,
we're following the rules.
Right.
That's very fair. Mr. Schneider. Thank you. Ms. Patterson?
My other question would just be, as you're gathering information, everything out there is on a well and septic. Just to make sure, again, when you're talking about if something fails, we've got to have room to move it like put a new septic in somewhere else or whatever.
I think we've got bigger problems with the fact that it's the landfill's right there. Because this is right behind the landfill.
I understand, but when you come down like that front 9.36 acres butts up to Heritage Woods of Belvedere.
Are you talking about contamination or?
No, I'm saying, is Heritage Woods on a septic?
No, they're actually on, I think,
Okay, up to city water.
city water and sewer, yes.
Perfect. Okay. I just wanted to.
I'm in that
make sure
business and I can't think of the term.
If it was on well and septic, there was something that failed, we would need a spot.
I see what you're saying, room to.
So if all of that is covered with solar panels,
Yeah.
we got nowhere to move.
I see what you're saying,
So,
yes,
all right, thank you.
yes.
Any other questions or discussion?
I just have one question. If I'm not mistaken, behind Boone County Animal Services, isn't there a pistol range there for Boone County officers? I mean, not that they're bad shots, but what's the odds of anybody
hit a
missing
solar panel
something?
first.
Hit a solar panel.
There's a berm around the pistol range. So hopefully they're not that bad a shot.
Well, I'm just saying.
Like
I
clay
mean,
pigeons.
and like you said with the, clay pigeons, with the Heritage Woods, I mean, they can, who knows, for emergency landing vehicles there or air helicopters or something at one point in the future,
I think
it's something to look into, like you said. We don't have to answer right now saying yes or no. I mean, it's an idea to look into.
Okay, so it sounds like the consensus of the board is we'd like to have a little more information, some details around this, and we want to bring this back next month.
yeah, next month is fine.
If we can get the Lisa score, be able to. But yeah, we'll work on Lisa score and then we'll map out the area and the acreage that the county engineer thinks that.
He may need. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Wilson.
I'm in favor of looking into this issue, but I again want to remind my colleagues that the Lisa score is only one of several factors that must be considered and must be weighed. But in the meantime, let's look into this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wilson. Okay. We'll, move on then. We got some direction there. For staff. Old business, anything under old business? All right, intergovernmental reports and updates. Mr. Johnson, do you have anything?
No, I mean, I guess one little quick update. Excuse me. Couple, I should say. Met with Representative Darren LaHood. We had about 15 minutes, I think, maybe 20 minutes of his time to just chat a little bit, and presented projects that we have going on here at the administrative campus and at the courthouse. Left a lot of hints that we could really use more money. He picked up on those. He was pretty perceptive that way. But gave us some options, encouraged us to apply for some funding that he hopefully will have available for those. And then things are still mentioned last, I think, board meeting that we have an opportunity potentially with R1 to gather a significant amount of funding, and that's still looking good at this point. Tell the check is in hand. It's not any money we can count on. So hopefully that comes through. So.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Anything else? No, so I guess I've got, moving on to, correspondence. We've got something on there, if you haven't seen, just to call your attention, is, there's a, transportation meeting, on I-39 reconstruction capacity project, Tuesday, February 18th, from 4 to 6:30 PM, for anyone interested in that. And then I think there was a report in here from, Illinois Association of County Board Members. So, counties at the Capitol. So if you want to read up on that, newsletter is there as well. So that is all I've got for this meeting. Unless anyone has anything else. Is there anything else anybody would like to discuss this evening?
Oh, you know what? There is one other thing.
One more thing, Mr. Johnson.
Excuse me. I want to extend a congratulations to Mr. Larson, who is our newest county highway employee. Everybody may recall that we had a member of the highway department, county highway department, retire recently. His replacement is our very own Mr. Ray Larson. Congratulations to Ray for that. That'll be great to have him on board there. Unfortunately, with that, Mr. Larson is not able to serve on the county board anymore. So unfortunately, this will be his last meeting. So at some point, he'll have to tender a resignation and send that through. But so it's a good and bad, I guess. We lose Ray, and without having a whole lot of knowledge ahead of time, Ray, I want to thank you for your years of service for District 1 and on the board here, and for serving the members of Boone County. We sure appreciate it and wish you all the best of luck at the highway department. We know you do a great job. And when the roads aren't plowed, Tom will call you.
Well, at least someone will call you. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that, Mr. Larson. Would you like to say a few words?
But yeah, I wasn't really planning anything, but just like to say it's been a pleasure meeting all the people over the years here, and working for the people of the county has been an honor of mine. So I'd just like to thank all the people of the county.
Certainly.
Congratulations, Rick.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Wilson.
This is a surprise to me, as it is to other members of the board. Ray Larson has been a solid, hardworking member of the board who digs into the background and makes his opinions based upon the research. And I will miss him as a colleague and a member of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
For sure.
Thank you, Dave.
Nice sentiments.
Yeah.
Very much so. Okay, well, that was big news. Left to the end there. Anything else? We got anything else?
We're going to stop there for now.
Okay. All right. Wow. All right. Well, with that, do we have need for executive session?
Executive, we just need one more motion.
So I need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned. Second.
We got a motion to adjourn by Mr. Riley, seconded by Mr. Shoemaker. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
You didn't give
We
me
got a vote.
name?
Oh,
Got a vote.
Oh,
Got to have a vote.
Oh, they should vote on that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.
at 6:37 PM.
If you could please quickly fill out your form,
Hey, your forms.
the back one that Michelle put on your desk.
Becky, to fill out your form for your insurance.